Hey guys, this is Donna from Donna Makes Art, and in this video I will be sharing with you something I found quite funny, and that is all the paintings that I have done since quarantined. I was contemplating how to tackle this. If it's on Instagram stories, it's a little bit informal, but here on YouTube I usually tend to organize my thoughts better, but this video is just not one of those. Touring all the paintings that I've done brings back all the emotions that have been roiling inside me. So I dug up this scrapbook, cheapo scrapbook that I bought years ago. I was curious as to how I could deal with brown paper. I asked on Instagram what I should paint, and everyone most voted on still life, so I tried it out. I've had these shell collections since forever. I say collection, but this is mostly just it. I love the beach. I don't go to it as often as I should, and this was my first attempt on a gouache painting, and I wasn't satisfied, so I did a portraiture, something that's more my jam, followed by another one. I was playing around with the opacity and seeing how I could push the tool more. This wasn't as successful, but I did like the hand that I painted. Next is another portrait. As you can see, portraits are just something that I paint to de-stress when I'm not motivated. So it's really my go-to subject. This one I started TikToking and I saw just a cute expression. Thought I would paint it, but I never really finished it. And then just another unfinished painting. I'm not good at landscapes, but from time to time I try to challenge myself. Then we move on to the next painting. This one I'm super excited to share. This was a painting that I did for my mom. Her birthday was on Feb, and I wanted to give something a bit unique. I saw her wearing this farm girl outfit with the fuchsia pink loose blouse and peddlers. I think that's what they're called, peddlers. And she was doing groceries, so holding up a bunch of veggies. I thought that all she needed was a hat and a basket, so I painted this. Fairly simple composition, but I really love how the gouache made the painting come to life, something that I was never able to achieve with the transparency or luminosity of watercolors. So that's another property of it that I'm very curious to explore. I actually filmed the whole process of this painting, so if you want to see that, comment down below. And yeah, I'm super proud of this. In the course of the lockdown, Hello Ink, illustrador ng kabataan. You know, it's hard to switch from one accent to another. I know that I don't really have a Caucasian accent. I'm sure I have an Asian accent when I talk in English, but then when you switch over to Tagalog, and it just has this very crisp way of speaking, it's kind of hard to switch from accent to accent. But illustrador ng kabataan. I'm sure I sound funny on both languages, but forgive me. Due to the lockdown, the entry for submissions of membership was extended, and I'm happy to announce that I was one of the that were accepted, so thank you. And they asked us to do a book cover and 2 chapter illustrations based on an award-winning story called Team Abangers at ang Estilyong Trumpo. So this was my submissions. I did 3 illustrations. This is the book cover. I'm not really happy with how this turned out. The composition is again fairly simple, and yeah, this paper tears, like tears a lot. When I took off the tape, I was quite disappointed with that. This one was done on Montval Canson watercolor paper. I heard a lot of good things about it, but after experiencing cotton watercolor paper, it's just not the same. The vibrancy, I couldn't get the depth of color that I wanted, and the paint just kind of sat on the surface. So it took a lot of getting used to, but I would say that for practice, this paper is perfect. If you're doing color comps or value sketches, yeah, sure, why not? And then this was my first chapter illustration, and I just had this immediate picture in my head. There you go. And again, fairly simple. I really like framing my work this way, where things are breaking out. This is a technique that I kind of learned from Casey Golden, yes. And ever since then, I found it very endearing, I guess. And last but not the least of this series of paintings was this chapter illustration where the main character and her roommates were cleaning up their room for inspection, and I really loved how this turned out. I was a bit intimidated when I first sketched out the thumbnail, but I was also excited to try and challenge myself in doing a full illustration. Usually I do spot illustrations or vignettes, but this one was a full illustration with background and characters in it. And I really enjoyed thinking up all the elements that go into a room of these girls, how the bed sheets would reflect their characters, what items they would be collecting, just trying to get into the heads of each character, and think of what they want to put in a room. And this one was set in an orphanage, so everything should have looked very beat up, shouldn't be very coordinated. So how do you harmonize all those things, make it look cohesive despite the elements supposedly being super random because of the fact that it's an orphanage? So there were a lot of thoughts that were running through my head, but I just really enjoyed thinking up of toys. Like there's a Rubik's Cube, a baseball, a lamp, some teddy bears, and things that were posted on the wall, because when I was a child we used to do that a lot, and some drawings, because I'm sure that, I mean, a typical kid would draw on a wall. I did. I drew on floors, I carved out things. It was like, kids are messy, period. So I really enjoyed this. The level of detail I'm very proud of. I filmed the whole process of these 3 paintings, so if you are interested in seeing those, comment down below, because it really gets me excited and really lights me up to talk about these things. This is a bit of a jump in time. This was done a few days ago. I just felt super stressed with all the events that are happening, and I broke out my watercolor materials, this Gansai Tambi that I haven't really been playing with. It's been a while, and yeah. I guess I was super inspired by all the sketchbook videos that Victoria, oh my gosh, I won't butcher her name, but Tori Ann was doing. So I broke out the Gansai Tambi, and where is this? There we go. This Bao Hong's watercolor paper pad that I bought a few years ago. I just remember having fun with this paper, and so I wanted some good feels. I did some color swatches just to see how the paint would behave on this paper, and then jumped straight into this. Actually, let me correct and backtrack. I first did the sketch for this doodle, I don't know what you call it. It's paint practice, I guess. Let's just call it sketch. I did the pencil sketch, there we go, first, and then I got intimidated because landscape, just urban sketching was not my strength, but I really wanted to, you know, learn some abstract shapes, how to do lighting. When you're doing faces, you're more focused on the anatomy and the structure of a person, but when you're doing landscape, you're just forced to see things in a very fresh perspective because the shape language is totally different. You're focusing on more abstract shapes and just finding those things that would make sense to include and make the picture cohesive. So I was more focused on the composition, the lighting, the colors, etc. But I was super intimidated because, again, I'm not good at it. So that's why I jumped back into color swatching, because it's something no-brainer, something that I need to refamiliarize myself with the tools. I painted this while watching Boku no Hero Academia, and it was a good time, honestly. Like, it was a good time. This was a shot that I took on my photo wall. So the light is very strong and I'm very attracted to those very chiaroscuro type of lighting. And then immediately after the landscape debacle, because again, I'm not an expert in it, I painted this. I scrolled through Pinterest and my boards, and then I saw this girl with a red cardigan and I said, oh my gosh, I want to paint that. This is perfect for the Gansai Tambis. This palette had great red choices, and oh my gosh, it's just it was such a pleasure. I think I got most of this in just one layer, and then the details on maybe the second or third, because with Gansai Tambi I noticed that it's very liftable. So I painted the figure, and then I didn't really want to, you know, copy the photo itself, so I just said, well, why not try abstract shapes? Because, well, this is just a doodle to loosen myself up and get familiar again with the paint. It was really a pleasure playing with lost and found edges. It was a meditative flow state that I needed at that time. Whew. On the next day, I tried to tackle a different palette. I was enjoying Gansai Tambi, yes, but it really spurred me on to try and break out my other mediums. And for this one, I used my Cotton Watercolor Winsor & Newton palette. It's a student grade. And honestly, I didn't like the color choices that I had. It wasn't as vibrant, it wasn't as easy to work with, it didn't flow as nicely as Gansai Tambi. And if you look at this one, it was like, I don't know what happened here. I still have to practice, I guess, with these. I wonder if the pigments for both blues are the same, because honestly guys, look at this. Look at this. It's the same. I mean, like, there's no difference. I tried to mix it with a bunch of other colors, and the mixes are similar, as in super close together, that I can't really see the difference. And it's so strange because look at this. It looks totally different when it's on the pan. So maybe the pigment is the same but with different ratios, so I'm not sure. In the end though, I don't regret using it. I really loved how this piece turned out, this watercolor sketch, whatever you call it. I realized that it's really hard to paint light haired characters. I live in the Philippines, so most of us have black hair or brown, but you know, blondes and strawberry blondes are kind of hard for me. But I did love this color in particular. Mixing it with this blue, I was able to get this very light teal sky blue color, and yeah, I really love that yellow socks detail. So this was just a very quick sketch, and just trying to get all that bad vibes out. I really love the subtle background that I included here. Maybe in my children's book story style illustrations, I would try to incorporate that more. This is just me playing around. And last but not the least, before any of those paintings, I actually sketched this out on the Bao Hong watercolor pad. And the reason why I started with that Ganzai Tambi whole scenario thing was because I was too intimidated to tackle this one. So I said, well, why don't we just try to break out my paints and refamiliarize myself so that I won't feel so intimidated. Last night I finally bit the bullet and did some color comps. I have been trying to push myself to do book covers for Filipino folklores. This one is of Piña, the Alamat ng Piña, legend of the pineapples. Sounds way cooler in Tagalog, but it's just about this child becoming a pineapple. You know, guys, I read folklores, both local and the Grimm's Tale, and oh my gosh, why? Most, if not all, stories didn't make sense. So I don't know. I uploaded a sketch with this concept of the child in the pineapple with eyes all around it, and it was the most well received sketch concept that I had as far as this story went. So I thought that, well, why not just get it off my plate, and so that my mind would have some more room to explore other ideas. So yeah. And then last is this sketch that I did last night. Recently I have been very nocturnal in my practices. I just can't get good sleep, guys. It's really hard. After this color comps, I just wanted something chill to de-stress and detox my brain, and I came up with this sketch. Pinterest girl again. I really loved her pose. I actually love the model. I loved everything about it. The lighting is so crisp and the colors were so pastel-y. And yeah, if you're curious where I get my photo references for studies like this, I'll link my Pinterest boards down below. I'm a big fan of Norman Rockwell, and the strong shapes in this model and this photo in particular was just very attractive to me. At a time when things are going crazy, I guess I just need a little bit of playtime. So I try not to take things too seriously because I do tend to push myself too far and burn myself out. So things like this is just a low-key way, I guess, of trying to relax. So I hope you guys are doing better than I am. So I guess that's it. Hope you guys are doing well at your side of the world, and I hope that you enjoyed this mini sketchbook tour of my quarantined paintings. I was just super surprised at how many I was able to do this past month, and I thought it would be fun to share it with you guys. I hope that it gave you a bit of room to distract yourself from the recent events, and inspires you to maybe pick up your own paint brushes and start doing those paintings that you've been trying to leave behind. Give this video a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you want to see more videos from me, and share it to your art buddies or people that maybe are feeling the same way. Stay safe, keep healthy, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!